What is Tech SEO? It's a process of optimizing your website so that the search engines can crawl it and index it. These requirements are changing all the time, and it can be challenging to keep current with what's going on with Tech SEO. But what you learn in this short video is what influences the search engines today. Implementing them is going to put you in a good position to get your website the proper structure it needs to rank high on Google in 2020. I'm Matt LeClaire, co-founder of your SEO Squad. Identify errors on your website with a website audit. One of the first things you need to do is check your website for crawl errors. Run a crawl report, also known as a site audit. The audit is going to give you a bird's eye view of all the technical issues on your website, and you probably have quite a few of them. Maybe you have duplicate content, maybe your website isn't loading quickly enough on a few pages. There's also a chance you're missing some H1 tags or some H2 tags. Luckily, there's a lot of tools you can use to automate this process. Ideally, you should run this process every month to make sure that your website is optimized correctly for the search engines. Well, the favorite tool that we use for our site audits for our agency is Screaming Frog. It's a wonderful tool. We use it. It's highly reliable. You can also use SEMrush Site Audit, Ahrefs Site Audit, and Sitebulb Site Audit to get your audits done, but we use Screaming Frog ourselves. Switch to HTTPS. Since you want to ensure that users and search engines can access your website, you need to switch from HTTP to HTTPS URLs if you haven't done so already. There's an excellent chance your web developer is already taking care of it, but if they haven't, your audience won't be able to see your content. Neither will the search engines, and that's bad news. They're going to find a lot of 400 and 500 status codes that can have a significant impact on your rankings in the wrong direction. So check your Google Search Console error list to make sure that you're in full compliance. Submit your XML sitemap. XML sitemaps help search engines to crawl your web pages. Specifically, they act as a map. However, for this map to work correctly, you must ensure that they meet a couple of guidelines. They must be formatted in an XML document, and they need to follow sitemap protocol and include every updated page on your website in the sitemap. And the best way to submit your sitemap to Google is through Google Search Console. You can also do it by inserting it in your Robots.txt file, but I recommend you do it through Google Search Console because it's a lot easier. Decrease your load time. The time in which it takes your website to load is a huge ranking factor. A lot of sites struggle with pages that load way too slowly. This can put a damper on the user experience and increase your bounce rate. And the good news is Google's PageSpeed Insight tool is something that you can use to enter your web address, and it'll show you how long it takes for your pages to load not only on mobile but also desktop. Ideally, you want your pages taking no more than 3 seconds to load. If it takes any longer, you need to make a few changes to your site to increase the speed. It's just the way it is in 2020. Make your website mobile friendly. One of the best ways to improve your technical SEO is to make your site mobile friendly. Google has a tool for this as well too. It's their mobile friendly test. It allows you to enter your web address and get insight into how mobile friendly your website is. Sites that are mobile friendly usually have more compressed images, larger fonts, and embedded videos. Keyword cannibalization audit. Search engines are confused when your website cannibalizes keywords. Keyword cannibalization occurs when several pages on your website or posts on your website rank for the same keywords in the search engines. Essentially, you're making these posts and pages compete against each other for position in the results on Google when they're only going to show one or two from the same domain anyway, so you're really losing out on a lot of opportunities. Keyword cannibalization typically happens when the home page and other subpages get optimized for the same keywords. It happens quite a bit. You can find out if your pages are competing against each other by checking the performance report on Google Search Console. Just filter the keywords that you want to check and consolidate any of the pages you find that have a problem. Check the Robots.txt file. Have you noticed that only a few pages on your website are indexed, or that there's one that never was indexed? If so, it's a good idea to look at your Robots.txt file. There's a chance that you may have accidentally blocked individual pages or maybe the entire site from being crawled by the search engines. When searching through your Robots.txt file, look for this code here. It's the Disallow code. This command's telling search engines to avoid crawling a particular page on your website. It's bad news for rankings. Perform a Google search. One of the most straightforward strategies for checking to see if a website is indexed on Google is just to search it on Google. The best way to do that is just to search your website with this right here, site, and then your website domain. And what this does is it'll pull up a list of every index page that Google has on your website. Keep in mind that if your website isn't showing up on the first listing, you probably have a penalty. Look for duplicate meta descriptions. Whenever you have similar pages on your website, it tends to result in getting a lot of meta descriptions that are also the same. Many website owners, what they do is they copy and paste content from one page to the next, and when they do this, you get a really good chance of getting duplicate meta descriptions. It's something that happens in the industry. Research shows that more than half of e-commerce sites are dealing with this issue, so it's a real issue. Your audit should alert you to this, whatever tool you use, whether it's a Screaming Frog or the Ahrefs tool or the SEMrush or Sitebulb. It'll usually find this problem for you if you're having it. Length of meta descriptions. Not only should you make your website free of duplicate meta descriptions, you need to make sure that you're using the right length on your meta descriptions too. This isn't a significant ranking factor anymore, but it can still improve your click-through rates from the search engine. You're allowed 320 characters to use in your description. So this is more than enough space to add your product specifications, your keywords, your location, and any other vital information you need to get the click. So get the click. Look for duplicate content. Sure, duplicate meta description can be a problem, but duplicate content can be an even bigger problem and is a massive issue for a lot of websites. Research indicates that more than half of sites online today are dealing with duplicate content issues. If you want to make sure your website doesn't get penalized for duplicate content, it's a good idea to use a tool that looks for duplicate content. The tool we use here in our agency is Copyscape. It's by far the best in the industry for checking for duplicate content, but you can also use SEMrush or Screaming Frog. They work too for looking for duplicate content. Now, when you find some offending pages, all you do is make some changes to the content or maybe delete one of them. It's up to you. Search for broken links. A broken link can cause a drop in rankings and bad user experience. It can also waste a lot of your crawl budget. When it comes to creating a sound technical SEO strategy, you got to include broken link repair. Specifically, you need to look for pages on your website that have links that are broken and either replace those links with working URLs or remove the pages entirely from your website. Screaming Frog does a really good job of alerting you to the pages that contain broken links on your website. There's also a lot of broken link tools that you can use as well too. It's up to you what tool you use. Just make sure that you look for broken links on your website. So what is Tech SEO? Well, it's a process involved in helping the search engines be able to crawl and index your website. It's about getting your website to be able to communicate properly to the search engines too. While search engines are becoming a lot more sophisticated with each passing day, it still needs human intervention to make your website rank high in 2020. The good news is there's a lot of tools that you can use to automate the SEO process and technical SEO process, and you have them at your disposal today. Again, that's Screaming Frog, the Ahrefs tool, SEMrush audit tool, and Sitebulb. Now, if you would like our team to provide you with a comprehensive SEO audit, we'd be more than happy to do that. Just visit our site at yourseosquad.com, SEO Survival Kit. Thank you for watching. God bless America.